Brent, Christian, let's talk litigation. When people call you and they're going through a case with you, how do you know when it's good to settle or when it's time to pursue litigation? Brent, kick us off.
Well, there's different variables you want to consider. One of the first is, if we go to court and we spend the money to go to court, is there going to be enough money from someone that can pay? Because the insurance industry has advertised over and over that people are getting something for nothing. Everybody with small injuries are getting tons of money. Well, in reality, you're limited to the amount of money that usually the insurance company has, unless the person that hits you or causes your injuries has large assets. So one of the first things you want to look at is, if we spend the money to go farther, is it financially worth it?
So looking at that true reality check. Now, Christian, from your perspective, what do you like to advise clients?
Going off of what Brent said, that's a very important aspect to look at. But when you're dealing with North Carolina, a lot of times when you look at the medical evidence, that's what you have to consider. When folks go to the hospital, if they have health insurance, a jury's not going to hear the full amount of the bills coming in. So they may have been billed $10,000, but all that's admissible is $500. And so you've got to consider what a jury's going to hear when you're talking with your client to determine what makes sense moving forward with litigation.
Now, when you're looking at wrecks, does it matter how many people were involved? So do those numbers really play a factor?
Well, the number of people involved in the wreck matters due to the coverage. If you have a minimum coverage policy and you have 6 people in the wreck and you split that up, you quickly see that litigation's not probably your smartest thing, because everyone's going to get something, not a lot. At that point, though, you can also look into whether or not somebody has underinsured coverage, which opens another avenue of money. But the number of people in a wreck matter as to the amount of coverage.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Now, when you're also looking at going towards that litigation, Christian, what do people need to be aware of when it comes to the costs?
The cost of litigation, there's monetary costs and there's time constraint costs. A lot of times when people go forward with litigation, they don't realize how much time they're going to spend answering discovery questions, being deposed, and if it goes going through a mediation, if it goes all the way through a jury trial, spending several days doing that, not only spending the time, but the stress involved. As far as the costs go, again, what Brent said is you've got to look at hiring experts and decide, is it going to be obtainable to make them more money from their incident than it would be just resolving it prior to going to sue?
People get mad in litigation. Like, we ask them, they have to do the discovery, they have to do the depositions, and they always say, hey, listen, I'm the one that hurt. I'm the one that's hurt. Why am I doing this? Well, you can't forget, we have the burden to prove the case. Yes, you were hurt, but you're bringing the case against this other person, so it's not just you bring the case and get the money. There's work involved with litigation. And so I think we have to tell the clients that up front, and then they also have to balance out psychologically, because there's a big psychological toll the litigation takes as well. So that's another factor to consider.
Well, guys, I love the fact that you go into every single case with not only sympathy, but also strategy at the end of the day.
This segment of QC Life was sponsored by Stewart Law Offices.